Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Deep Roots Movement. My name is Yasin, and today we are located at the ancient Roman city of Hieropolis, outside of Pamakule, the famous hot springs center with the travertines, the Cotton Castle, here in western Anatolia in the Republic of Turkey. In ancient times, a little under 2,000 years ago, this was a Roman spa center, a place where people would come for baths and healing. And the tradition of Yeshua, of Isa alayhi salam, of Jesus the Christ, the Messiah, was firmly rooted in here early on in the Christian era. This place is associated with at least one of the disciples of Jesus, of Isa. And that was Philip the martyr. Philip was an apostle, he was a disciple. Now there are two Philips talked about in the New Testament, in the book of John, in the book of Acts. And while nowadays modern scholars separate them and say that they're two individuals, the early Christians did not believe that. The early Christians believed that they were the same person, including Eusebius in his hagiography which is a collection of biographies, legendary biographies of the early Christians. They were considered to be the same man. And this man, Philip, he was known as being, even if he's two separate people, he was known for being a Greek. He had a Greek name. It seems that he spoke the Greek language, was connected to the Greek people, showing that Isa had connections to people that were not just part of Bani Israel, or that Bani Israel might be more extensive than we'd imagined it to be. Philip, he preached the gospel, which means the good news, which is the oneness of Allah, the oneness of God, the messiahship of Isa, and he was a servant of Allah, a servant of God. He was a friend of God, a wali. They call him a saint within the Christian tradition. At this location, he was known for healing. So he would preach and he would heal people. He was said to have been at the famous wedding at Cana, which is in Lebanon. He was associated with the incident where Jesus feeds the people, 5,000 people, fed them fish and breads, loaves of bread. In the two accounts of his martyrdom, when he joined the Shuhada, where he became a martyr, where he died for his belief in Allah, in God, he was in the one true and living God. In one tradition, here at Hieropolis, just above this location. Now, this is his tomb, his turbesi, his mazar, his maqam, and this was a major pilgrimage spot during the Byzantine period. But he's said up the hill to have been beheaded. In another tradition, it's said that he was hung upside down on a cross. And that he, if I'm remembering correctly, that even when he was hanging upside down, he continued to preach about the oneness of God and the need to repent and purify ourselves. So I think that's very beautiful. And it's interesting that here in Turkey, we have three places at least that are closely associated with African aspects of the prophetic tradition. So out in Tarsus, and where is the other location? So in Tarsus and in Mardin in Upper Mesopotamia, we have two places where Bilal Habashi, Habashi, he's associated with Eastern Africa, with the Horn of Africa, with Ethiopia, which in ancient times included Sudan, Somalia. This whole region was Eritrea. These were all Habashi areas. They were all associated with early Christianity. They were all associated with that region of Africa and the Semitic languages. They spoke languages that were connected, that were cousins to Hebrew, to Aramaic, to Arabic. So Bilal May Allah be pleased with him. He was said to have recited adhan and to have prayed at both of these locations when he was engaged in the jihads expanding the Rashidun caliphal territories up into the Roman territories. So that's how he spent the last years of his life, from my understanding. I'm always interested in learning more. The other place associated with the African tradition is here, because Philip, in one of the traditions in Acts, he's said to have converted an Ethiopian eunuch, to Christianity and baptized him. Also, what's interesting is that this eunuch actually worked for the Candace, so the queen, and the Kandake. So